Hey, movie recaps here. Today, I will clarify a film in light of the genuine story of the most youthful champion of World War II called Soldier Boy. Spoilers ahead. Look out and fare thee well. The film starts in Russia, where a family of 3 sit by the stream, partaking in their time. The most youthful of them, Sergei Aleshkov, brags to his senior sibling and mother about him being on top of a tree, when abruptly, German contender jets fly upward. The mother asks her children to rapidly stow away in the shrubs, yet entirely the 6-year-old cases he isn't frightened and hits the fly with a slingshot. Shockingly, he figures out how to hit the planes and detonate them. When he glances around, his family is no more. Sergei awakens terrified from the fantasy and requires his mom. All of a sudden, somebody thumps on his entryway. Expecting it is his mom, he runs towards it, yet a neighbor lady comes in freezing. She says thanks to God for keeping him alive, and illuminates him that his mom and sibling are dead. The young man can't appreciate what she is talking about, and needs to remain in the house to sit tight for his mother. The lady lets him know that the Germans have assaulted them and that he should flee. All of a sudden, a few officers approach their home. The lady makes Sergei run out through the window, yet is shot dead before she can go along with him. The little 6-year-old is presently all alone, with no family and companions. As Sergei flees from the house, he sees his entire area consuming behind him. He requires his mom to no end, and flees from that point. Subsequent to running for some time, he winds up in the center of the forest. The small child begins to require his mom to come and get him, since he is lost. That evening, he remains in the wilderness. The next morning, we see him drink water from a stream, when the aggressors approach his direction. Sergei, realizing that they are hazardous, rapidly stows away inside a tree's underlying foundations. He is frightened when a snake comes close by, however doesn't articulate a word or flee. Sergei is more frightened of the fighters than of the snake. The troopers eat by the waterway and disappear, after which Sergei takes their extra food and gobbles up it for the evening. Nonetheless, before the day's over, the young man is depleted. He hasn't had an appropriate feast in 2 days, what's more has been strolling with no objective. He tumbles down as he limps, however doesn't quit strolling. While on his way, he sees wild berries and gobbles up them. Yet all of a sudden, a blast happens behind him, overwhelming him. The kid gets dazed, and begins to daydream somebody coming behind him. Be that as it may, even in such circumstances, he stands fearless and tells the individual he has a rifle, what's more isn't terrified. He limps forward, however falls oblivious inevitably. While he is snoozing, 2 troopers approach him. The scene slices to the Russian armed force base, where leader Kuznetsov sits tight for his watch officers. They come in with the young child, who is harmed and frail. Whenever the warriors guarantee they are his ally, the young man opens up and presents himself. The warriors chuckle when the child shakes his hand with the administrator, recommending he present himself as well. The warriors feel tender with the young child, and circle him around. They make him drink water and feed him. Indeed, even the generally chilly officer deals with the child. A medical caretaker named Katya dresses Sergei's wounds, and is enchanted by his character as well. The child requests that she draw a tank on his injuries, on the grounds that he needs to be a warrior when he grows up. Indeed, even the harmed warriors converse with the child, and feel lighter. Sergei is interested with the authorities' firearm in his group. The commandant also answers all the young man's inquiries and allows him to play with his privileged gun in the wake of taking the slugs out. Sergei shows him the tank drawn on his stomach, and gloats about being a fighter himself. The kid is mending rapidly. The attendant Katya requests that the commandant let the kid stay with the brigade. In any case, he deviates, guaranteeing that it won't be protected. He needs to send Sergei to a halfway house. The troopers invested all their free energy with Sergei. He is visited by a lot of people over the course of the day. They bring him food sent by their families from a far distance, and, surprisingly, let him play with their optics. At some point, a warrior goes to the leader to request that he let the kid stay with the brigade. The warriors have grown a nearby association with the child, and consider him their own. His presence takes the heaviness of battle off their mind. Nonetheless, the officer is resolute about sending the kid to the shelter, for his own security. The next day, the foes assault, also many troopers are harmed. A vehicle comes to get Sergei to take him to the shelter. The commandant tells the child, and gives him a wooden privileged gun as a gift. The kid thusly embraces him, asserting that he is terrified for the authorities' security. The leader dissolves in his embrace, and adjusts his perspective. He requests that Sergei stay with the officers as his child. That evening, the warriors search for little trooper garments for the young man. They are elated to have Sergei remain with them. The leader awakens Sergei and gives him the garments. He wears them and runs around, resembling a genuine warrior. The others begin calling him their little officer kid. As the child goes around, the Germans send off an air assault on the unit. The fighters rapidly take Sergei to a protected spot and battle the others. The quantity of harmed fighters develops quickly. Sergei needs to make himself valuable, so he carries water to parched troopers. One of them requests that he read a letter sent by his family since he has a gauze over his eyes. The young man needs to help. However, doesn't have the foggiest idea how to peruse. He takes the letter and fires, making up the things composed on it, guaranteeing that the trooper's cow is protected back home. Whenever the trooper says he doesn't have a cow, the others advise him to oblige the story and snicker. He peruses every other person's letters in similar design and brightens them up. In the accompanying scene, we see Katya and the commandant talking. The two appear to be drawn to one another, yet don't admit their sentiments. Afterward, Sergei lets the commander know that he is of the precise situation in the regiment and starts presenting himself as one. Notwithstanding, the kid then, at that point, sees one of the fighters' station annihilated from the assault. The authority helps him to salute, offer appreciation to the dead fighter. The following day, he demands the officer give him a mission and is given an undertaking to circulate the letters among the fighters. He gets done with his job effectively and even makes the troopers dance for him. The next day, Sergei goes somewhat a long way from the base with his optics. As he is playing with it, he sees somebody's leg moving from inside a pile. He surges back to the regiment and informs the warriors regarding his discoveries. The officers have some glaring misgivings. Be that as it may, go with the kid in any case. At the point when they reach close to the pile, they are made aware of C2 German spies stowing away under. The covert agents are captured, and the child is lauded for his insight. That evening, the officer shows Sergei the lawful papers for his reception. He is currently formally the child's dad. He takes him to admit to her. In any case, the two see her conversing with an alternate man, and improperly expect she is keen on another person. The base is assaulted by the Germans once more. This time, Sergei assists the troopers energetically, by providing ammo to the fighters in the bleeding edge, yet the warriors there order him to return to the shed since it is excessively hazardous outside. Whenever he comes to the shed, he sees the authority and others freezing in light of the fact that the telephone's association with the colonel is lost. A warrior is shipped off to fix the messed up wires. Sergei follows the warrior and sees he has been lethally injured. He asks the perishing warrior how he can fix the wires. What's more, does it without anyone else's help. The association returns and more soldiers are called. The 6 years of age saves everybody's life. Afterward, we see the authority and Katya talking by the waterway. The authority at long last admits his adoration for herself and requests that she be Sergei's mom. Katya is ecstatic, yet before she can say anything, a trooper approaches them and gives the administrator a letter, saying they have been dispatched from the base. The next day, every one of the officers leave for their new base alongside Sergei. Be that as it may, on their way, they go over a minefield that passes over a portion of their vehicles. The leader is harmed while the gathering's precise, who Sergei was close with, passes on in the blast. He cries and embraces the administrator. They convey the harmed ones with them and proceed with their excursion to their new base. Whenever they at long last arrive at the other base, they meet the authority's chief, the general. He also is dazzled by the child's aspiration, and praises the leader for having such a shrewd child. The next day, their division is granted a watchman's pennant, as is the kid. He vows to save his nation when the overall gives him his cluster. One evening, their base is assaulted mercilessly, and the authority is caught under the remains. Sergei weeps for his dad and attempts to save him. He calls different fighters, who at long last bring the officer out. The following day, Sergei approaches an harmed administrator. His hands were harmed while attempting to save the leader. The child is presently an indistinguishable piece of the group. He doesn't have a family close to them, and moves any place they go in the conflict. The film closes as the regiment is seen moving to another base. A voice behind the scenes portrays that he even participated in the Stalingrad fight, also arrived at Poland with the officers. He is at present known as the world's most youthful warrior ever, and the unbelievable story of his boldness is currently spread so that the entire world might hear. Like and subscribe to watch more videos like this, and don't forget to turn on your notifications. That really helps my channel. Thanks for watching.